Mike, there's been a lot made about yourself and Phil this summer. I was wondering if you'd be interested in clearing the air about that and what your relationship is like with him.
Well, my relationship with Phil has been the same for 3 seasons now, and it hasn't changed. It's evolved because we've been through different experiences, both as a group and as individuals. But my relationship with Phil is the same as it's always been. It's one of respect, of mutual respect, and that's how I see it. And you know, I like Phil a lot as a person and a hockey player. He's been a big part of the Pittsburgh Penguins' success over the last 3 seasons. He's coming off a 92-point season, put us in a great position to compete again for a Stanley Cup. He was a huge part of the 2 Stanley Cups that we won, and myself and our coaching staff has nothing but respect for the type of player and the person that he is.
I know you guys always want to be playing through June, but to get some extra rest and relaxation for these guys, how much do you think that'll benefit them heading into next season?
Well, I think it's great for our guys. You know, they've got an opportunity to get away from the game a little bit. I think it's an opportunity to re-energize and get excited about the game again. You know, I can only speak for myself, but I think certainly watching other teams compete in the Stanley Cup Finals has certainly given me a whole lot of motivation to want to beat one of those teams again, and I believe our players feel the same way. So hopefully this summer they're given an opportunity here to recover a little bit, to heal their wounds, to try to build their bodies physically through some off-ice strength training, and they'll be excited when training camp starts to play hockey again.
Have you personally taken any time for yourself yet so far?
I've taken a little bit of time, yeah, and spent some time with my family and you know, my wife and kids, and it's nice to get away from the game a little bit. Our team has played a lot of hockey, and we love it. That's what we do. That's what we're in it for. So, but every once in a while, it's nice to get away from the game, and I think it's refreshing and it just energizes you.
Do we as a group, media, make it more difficult for you to have a relationship with players like Phil Kessel or things like? Do we kind of make things worse, or you know, sometimes better even? I'm fishing for the better part.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I just think sometimes, and maybe this is just the nature of the business, but sometimes when we say things, you guys, you know, you draw conclusions or extrapolate things that we have no intention of, you know, of relaying to you guys. And so I think that's just the nature of the business. You know, I think in this particular instance, as you're alluding to with Phil, I'm assuming, you know, no one ever asked either myself or Phil. And the reality is you know, our relationship is as good as it's ever been. You know, I think there's a mutual respect there. I think, you know, have we had our differences at times during the course of each season that we've been together? Of course we have, but that's the player-coach relationship that goes on every team. And as I say to Phil and all of our players, my commitment to them is to find common ground to help put them all in positions to be successful. I know, and I can assure you guys that both Phil and myself have the same motivation in mind, and that's trying to help the Pittsburgh Penguins win and be successful.
Mike, Phil's production slipped at the end of last year. There was some rumor that there was an injury. Could you explain why you feel that his numbers tailed off at the end?
I'm not sure I can. I think, you know, Phil had a great season for us. You know, he had one of the best seasons of his career. He was one of our better players for a lot of the season, and so, you know, he's a guy that helped contribute and put our team in the position to compete for the Stanley Cup. You know, it's hard to explain in a short circumstance how certain players perform and don't perform. But the reality is, I know Phil's heart was in the right place, and his effort is in the right place. Every guy on our team is trying to help us win. That's the nature of sports. And so, you know, we're trying to do everything we can as a coaching staff to put them in positions to be successful. And but that, I think that's sports. And Phil's body of work has been very strong with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and we have a lot of respect for that.
Like Jim said on breakup day that he expected Daniel Sprong to be a part of the team next year. Sort of knowing that, do you have any preliminary thoughts on where you might want to start him or
where you see him being a fit in your lineup, or is it too soon?
Well, we're certainly hopeful that he's a guy that he's a guy that we're excited about. We believe he's NHL caliber player, and so I think training camp will be very important for all our players, Daniel included, to try to help us decide, who the best players are that are going to help us win games. We certainly have high expectations of Daniel because we think he's a real good player. We think his game has evolved, and certainly he's a guy that we think moving forward can help this organization win. And so I think, as always, performance is always the dictator. And so we'll try to create a competitive environment. We've always had a real healthy competition amongst our own players. I think that's part of what makes them be at their best. And we'll have a competitive training camp and give everybody an opportunity to try to show what they can do to help the Penguins win. And I think Daniel's one of those guys, but he's certainly a guy that we're excited about.
Thanks, Mike.